Thank you very much. Thank you. Hello, Athens Democracy Forum. So excited to be here. A professor of law and former judge delivers a paper at an international conference. She says that under the constitution of her country, women will never have full legal rights and calls for legal reform. Upon returning home, she is arrested at the airport, thrown in prison on charges of insulting the honor of the state. A different professor of public health publishes his data on child mortality that shows that mortality is much higher than the state's official numbers. He is forced out of the university and loses his position. Hundreds of scholars, professors, researchers, sign a public statement calling for their government to stop military action in a bordering territory. They are labeled terrorists, they are prosecuted and imprisoned or forced into exile. Student activists lead peaceful marches calling for lower fees and more employment opportunities for graduates. They are met with violent force, many are injured, and some die. And universities, pressured by state-elected authorities, scrub their websites, their course catalogs, their administrative offices of any terms indicating the diversity of the members of their community or the efforts by those members to seek full and equitable participation in education and in democratic society. What do these 5 examples have in common? All of them are true. All of them are situations that we have worked with at Scholars at Risk over the last 25 years. But for our purposes today, more important is all of them are an indication as to why universities, scholars, and students are attacked. And I would say the reason that universities are attacked is because universities are time machines. What do I mean universities are time machines? The university is one of the places where we begin to shape the future. The university is the place where we come together across our differences and wrestle with really complicated questions. It's one of the places where we can imagine more just and equitable futures, and we can begin to put those futures into practice by teaching and modeling the skills and practices of democratic discourse. And we do all of this with one bedrock rule. In the university, we leave our guns at the door. You're not allowed to win by force. In the university, we agree that we will settle our differences using evidence and reason and persuasion. And because of this, universities are attacked. Because those in power who want to get their way through force cannot tolerate a space in society for free and open questioning. Scholars at Risk was started to defend this vision of the university as a forward-looking time machine, or more specifically, to defend and fight for the security of the space in society to ask questions. For universities to be able to do this, they need to have academic freedom. They need to be grounded in equitable access so all voices are in the space. And they need to have autonomy from outside interference so they can do this without fear. Scholars at Risk's job is to build first a network through solidarity, to build the space, a community to defend academic freedom. Solidarity is our first call. We are not a conversion project. We are not going around the world trying to convince people academic freedom matters. Because we believe in higher education sectors and in civil society all around the world, there are already people who understand academic freedom and why it matters. So our job is to identify those people, to understand the constraints that they are under, many very serious constraints, and figure out how we can be helpful, how we can work together. So the first step is to build a network. Our network now consists of 650 or so higher education institutions and associations and thousands of individuals in over 42 countries, increasingly organized into national sections. So there is a SAR Greece, there is a SAR Italy, there is a SAR Canada. My ask number one, if any of you come from a country where there isn't a SAR section and you would like to see one, we want to talk. Look for me later, let's talk, okay? So we build the network, and then through this network, we have three primary areas of activity: protection, advocacy, and learning. Protection is the casework. This is ambulance work, where the situation is so bad for some scholars that the only proper response is to get them out of danger, get them to a place of safety somewhere in the network so they can keep working. Okay, but this is just the ambulance work. We need to do more to change conditions. So advocacy, using the tools of the human rights movement to try to elevate understanding of academic freedom as a human right, why it matters, how it's central to democracy. This is monitoring, this is reporting, this is going to the UN and other interstate bodies. This is demanding visibility and accountability. But this is still just early warning. This is spotting the problems, but the problems have happened. So the third track of our work, learning, this is norm creation. This is the long-term stuff. This is in the fire department analogy. This is every professional fire department spends a tiny portion of its budget and time teaching stop, drop, and roll, and exits and fire drills. This is conversations with the higher education sector and with the public and with civil society about what academic freedom is and why it matters, not just to someone who happens to have the title professor, but anyone who has the desire for a free society. So these are our core areas of work. And we are having impact. Every year we help hundreds of scholars. Every year we're doing thousands of interventions with different stakeholders. But the bottom line is we need to do more, because the scale and rate and volume of the threats to this space are much bigger currently than the rate at which we are responding. So a few years ago, we thought about it. We looked at the world. We said, what are we going to be able to do to really move the needle? So we started Academic Freedom 2035. This is a vision by 2035 to have a global confederation of voluntary connection of independent regional academic freedom coalitions, where independent regional actors are saying, these are the problems in this space that we have, these are what we want to work on, and are there ways we can work together? So we started this project a few years ago to raise visibility, to raise solidarity, and in phase one, we've already created 3 regional coalitions. So we have ACAF, the African Coalition for Academic Freedom. We have CAFA, the Coalition for Academic Freedom in the Americas. And we have SEACAF, the Southeast Asian Coalition for Academic Freedom. So my ask number 2 is if anyone in the room comes from these regions, knows people in these regions, works on these regions, or funds work in these regions, we want to talk. Because we need to get these coalitions strong and sustainable and robust so they can be the primary defenders of academic freedom in their regions. Phase 2 is we're already in conversation with people in other regions: Central Asia, MENA, South Asia, Eastern Europe. So ask number 3 is if you are from those other regions, if you know people in those regions, if you work on those regions, or you fund work in those regions, we want to talk. Because we think it's really important that no region is not part of this. I don't want to see any region not engaged in the conversation about how we protect this, because if we have a version of academic freedom that doesn't work in some place, then we don't have the right version. Because knowledge is global. The university space should be global. And we want everyone to benefit. We want everyone to be able to live in a world where they had the freedom to think, question, and share ideas freely and safely. So that is our vision. Academic Freedom 2035 is our way to move towards this vision. And I really look forward to speaking to anybody who thinks you can be helpful to us, or just if you have more questions. So thank you to the Athens Democracy Forum. Thank you for having us. And I look forward to all the conversations. Thank you.